police say it had the makings of an execution.
We have an officer down.
Transit security officer Scott Von Lanken was helping two women with directions late Tuesday when police say Joshua Cummings suddenly put a gun to the officer's neck and pulled the trigger.
We do have concerns that was the victim a target because of the uniform that he was wearing.
Von Lanken was 56, his wife too upset to go on camera.
He was a wonderful husband, a wonderful father.
Cummings is an Army vet and a Muslim convert. Today, a Denver mosque he visited said his extreme views were so alarming, mosque leaders alerted the Department of Homeland Security, writing he seems pretty advanced in his path of radicalization.
Mr. Cummings is obviously a very disturbed individual.
The mosque believes authorities took the threat seriously. DHS telling us today it was immediately referred to the appropriate law enforcement agencies for review. And David, you can see the memorial here where it happened. Cummings is now facing first-degree murder charges. He'll be in court tomorrow.
Transgender case in New Jersey has prompted the Boy Scouts of America to change its stance on who will be allowed to join the Scouts. 8-year-old Joey Maldonado, you can see here, very excited after learning that he can be a Boy Scout. Now, he was born a girl, but now identifies as a boy. Maldonado joined the Boy Scouts of Secaucus, but a month later was told he had to leave because he is not biologically a boy. His mother filed a lawsuit, and the organization responded with a change in policy, saying they will now accept youth based on the gender on their application.
I want them to be comfortable with how I am and what my destiny is and what my identity is.
Very articulate 8-year-old. Joe can now enjoy camping, s'mores, all the things many young children love to do, all the activities involved in scouting.
Demonstrators gathered at the Texas Capitol today to protest a new state proposal to further punish sanctuary cities. It just happened in Travis County, where Governor Greg Abbott will withhold nearly $2 million in grant funding. Travis County Judge Sarah Eckhart.
I've never actually seen political retribution on this scale before.
Newly elected Sheriff Sally Hernandez campaigned to keep the sanctuary status for Travis County.
They elected me to do the right thing for the right reason, and I'm doing that.
The sheriff says she will only hold immigrants who are here illegally if they have been charged with murder, aggravated sexual assault, or human smuggling. Currently, there are more than 300 sanctuary cities nationwide which do not prosecute people in this country illegally for violating immigration law. 3 states, California, Vermont, and New Mexico, are looking to provide sanctuary status statewide.
So you think your officers, acting on behalf of federal ICE agents, will strain community relations?
Absolutely. If they're a victim or they're a witness and they're fearful that they're going to be deported and separated from their family, they're not going to come talk to us.
Governor Abbott has threatened to have the elected sheriff removed from her position.
To protect Texans from deadly danger, we must insist our laws be followed.
Fighting for justice!
The grant money withheld will affect several county programs, but none that deal with immigration.
House GOP members are wasting no time trying to help fulfill one of President Trump's biggest campaign promises to evangelicals: repealing the Johnson Amendment. One bill calls for its full repeal, but another just amends it to restore free speech to charities and houses of worship. Opponents of the Johnson Amendment argue it allows the IRS to bully and intimidate churches. Pastors who've been targeted by the law came to D.C. to share their stories. Houston pastor Hernan Castano says the city's lesbian mayor had his sermons and text messages subpoenaed because of his outspoken stance on issues like gay marriage. Castano was given a short period of time to turn them in, or he would face imprisonment.
It caused a lot of stress on the church members, a lot of questioning, and other pastors just fled in fear because obviously they couldn't believe this was happening in America.
Pastor Castano says the law causes a lot of confusion for clergy, and many do not understand why sharing their interpretation of scriptures could lead to fines or removal of tax-exempt status.
Talking to many pastors, I've seen the intimidation, the fear, and how they would not speak out because they don't want to lose their 501c3 status.
He says each year around election time, warnings and threats are sent to the church, citing the Johnson Amendment.
Everyone should have their full freedom of speech, not partial freedom of speech, which is what's really happening right now in the pulpits of America.
Congressman Heiss and Senator Lankford agree, which is why they introduced legislation in both sides of the House to protect these pastors.
The Free Speech Fairness Act, just as it says, protects those free rights and enables pastors and so forth to deal with political issues without fear of intimidation or retaliation from our government.
Supporters of the Johnson Amendment argue a repeal would allow churches to turn into super PACs, but this bill prohibits nonprofits from contributing to political activities or candidates.
I'm trying to work on within the Senate with Republicans and Democrats alike to say, how can you be opposed to free speech? Now, I understand that there are some individuals that don't like it when churches speak out, but quite frankly, there are churches on the left and on the right politically that they should have the right. We as Americans shouldn't limit speech.
Lawmakers have high hopes 2017 will be the year it goes.
Thank you very much for coming out. Is the sound working? Okay, good. The sound working? I can hear you. Can you hear us?
The Democrats wouldn't know how to protest if their political lives depended on it. And they do, led by the perpetually neurotic House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi and Senator Chuck Schumer. The Democratic Party attempted to right the sinking Democratic ship and failed miserably.
Is the sound working?
I don't think it is.
Good evening, everyone. I'm very proud to stand with the members of the House Democratic Caucus, soon to be joined by the Senate Democrats as well.
Mike's not on.
It's not on? Now we'll hear from Andre Carson, a Muslim member of Congress.
Excuse me, GQ. Andre. Right in there. Andre. I know, right? Greetings from the great state of Indiana. I'm Congressman Andre Carson. Not only do I represent Indiana's 7th Congressional District very proudly, but I happen to be a Muslim and a former police officer.
The Democrats are in full panic mode after having to hold seminars in order to speak to regular American voters, as Breitbart reports. Another program on the subject of speaking to those who feel invisible in rural America will feature Steve Beshear, a former Democrat Kentucky governor, along with Democrats Michael Bennet from Colorado and North Dakota and Heidi Heitkamp. Other seminars include Listening to Those Feel Unheard and Rising America. They feel unheard too. These topics may be a hard sell to a party contemplating hiring a new party chairperson from among candidates trying to outdo each other with far-left talking points.
We will not let this evil order extinguish that great torch. We will not let this evil order make us less American. We will fight it with everything we have, and we will win this fight.
And now it is my privilege, our privilege, to introduce Farah Amir Kamal and Omar Al-Mazgad with their stories, their courageous stories.
You described what happened in November as the alleged election. I think I'm quoting you exactly, the alleged election. By that, did you mean that it's an election that didn't actually take place, or that we should pretend didn't happen, or what did you mean? As someone who wants to lead the Democratic Party, what's your position on that?
Something happened in this election with Russia. Something happened that was so significant that the Democratic members of Congress that got that classified briefing stormed out of that room.
Of course, it doesn't help when DNC chair candidate Sally Boynton Brown goes after the few white Democrats left.
And my job is to shut other white people down when they want to interrupt. My job is to shut other white people down when they want to say, oh no, I'm not prejudiced. I'm a Democrat. I'm accepting. My job is to make sure that they get that they have privilege. And until we shut our mouths and we listen to those people who don't, and we lift our people up.
Former Vice President Joe Biden is now endorsing Tom Perez for DNC chair.
Donald Trump is a fraud. He's in it all for himself. Donald Trump is all about prosperity for himself. Me, myself, and I. That's not what the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution are about. Donald Trump is a fraud.
As the Democratic Party continues to implode.